Okay, so welcome to our first panel discussion on International Women's Day. We're really excited to have these four lovely individuals join us for our panel. And just to introduce them all, we have Lynn Sutherland, who's our new Chief Sales Officer. I'm just using my notes because the titles are so long.
Interviewer extraordinaire.
Sorry?
Interviewer extraordinaire.
Oh, absolutely, right? Got it nailed, yeah. We have Juan Suarez, who is the head of Product Centre for CCMS. We have Shiv Gounder. The names are also challenging for me. Trudy picked the easy name panel. Who's Business Development Manager working in our sales environment. Now we have Prakruthi, Gururaj. Close, right? Who's a BA working in OM. So today what we're going to do is walk you through their perspectives on some of the, things around International Women's Day, particularly focusing on balance for better. So what I'm going to do is ask you each to introduce yourselves, now that I've very poorly said all of your names, and just give us a little bit of insight into what does balance mean for you. And for those in the audience as well, looking at balance, it comprises of a number of things. So this is the cheat sheet we gave them before today. So who'd like to kick off?
Someone who read the cheat sheet.
Right, so that means we'll kick off with Lynn.
Actually, I did have a quick look at it the other day. I've been working now for quite a whole heap longer than all you guys have, and I think I'm okay. You can hear me okay? Yeah. And I know probably when I was in my 25s to 35-year-olds, you know, the area that Sylvie was talking about, I was probably far too career focused, and I really learned that lesson when I went to China for a couple of years. And I was working in China, and I'd gone from managing a really large team. I was the state manager of Queensland for ANZ, had a team of about 1,500 people, and I went to China and I had 2 direct reports, and I was working in a Chinese bank. It was an ANZ joint venture, and I really learned the lesson of putting my career first. When I got there, and I wasn't very busy, it was the hardest job I've ever had in my life. And I got there, and after 3 months I thought, oh my God, I've made absolutely the worst mistake ever. This was a disaster. What am I going to do? And after a while, after speaking to a number of people, there was no way I was easily going to be able to move back to Australia. My family was over there in whole 9 yards. I really had to then compartmentalise that work was work, and I needed to then focus on other things that I was going to get satisfaction with the opportunity that I had in front of me there, and that was travelling around Asia and learning Chinese. And so for the next couple of years I did 2 hours of Chinese lessons every morning, and now looking back on it, and I travelled a lot too, the most satisfying thing I got out of living in China was actually learning the language. I only got to like a probably poor intermediate level of fluency, but it just gave me so much satisfaction being able to get out and about. So careers probably been over-indexed in mine, and now that I'm a little bit older, I really have had to focus on health, and so and also making sure my children are well set up and get to be, you know, great in their futures as well. And that's what I've been really focusing on since I've started at Allianz. I think I've lost about 7 kilos. So yay.
Hang on, what's your secret?
Multi-fast. And this location really helps too, because you don't sort of, you know, to get out, it's a bit of a mission to go somewhere. So and I've really been focusing on improving my health, and having said that, I ended up in an accident and emergency last night because I fainted at dinner. I was out with some friends and I fainted at dinner and got carted off in an ambulance. So I still need to do more work on health. What a better building could I be working in? You know, there's a whole bunch of experts and stairs.
I'm thinking stairs.
So work in progress.
Work in progress,
yeah.
But I guess, Lynn, for you, there's been some really key learnings along the way there.
Yeah.
So, Shiv, from a balance perspective, what does it mean for you?
Me personally, I probably haven't been the best in balance,
Yeah.
but it's making, I guess it would be prioritising in your life. So I guess I wasn't here when most of Sylvie's interview, but I've been in my last couple of years I've been more focused on my career. But I've been here for the last 8 months, and you have to make a conscious effort of having more balance in your life. So that's eating healthier, going to the gym, etc. And actually trying to make it happen even when things are going to change in your life and you're going to be in a different situation where work's going to get hectic, and just making sure you prioritize and get some good food and go out and talk to your family and stuff like that.
Yeah, great. So priority there, making it a priority. Prak.
Yes. I would like to go to the literal meaning of balance. Balance is nothing but calmness, equilibrium. And if we see, we've got pretty much all covered 7 components, which is comprehensive, and I think we all have a bit of everything in our life. So balance is about how we strike that in a steady manner. And for me, as Cindy Wright said, change is the only constant thing. So I've always had change in my life. I've changed places, jobs, different aspects of the circle out there. So starting from Mysore, went off to Bangalore after marriage, then to Kerala, neighboring state, then to Saudi Arabia, then to Dubai, and then landed here in Australia. So change was the only constant thing I've had throughout my life. So the challenge was, how do I strike the balance with that? New place, new people, new job, everything has been new, and my life is also progressing. My age was passing, I had a family, I had my first kid, second kid, and then what? So if I would ask you all like what the balance, it's what exactly is going to come is about having this steadiness and how we're going to strike that. Normally we would have different factors for that, some of them which are in our control, some of them out of control. So how would we deal that and work through that? And again, having balance doesn't mean that I have less work, I'm relaxing, no challenges, no chaos. No, actually it's a combination of it all and how we can handle and manage this. Just to give my own life experience, 2015, okay, come to Australia, it was all new, challenging myself and challenging the challenge, came through, and then my husband had to go back to India to do his clinical cover gap to him to get into his professional stream of medicine. And then boom, he's gone, and the whole thing comes on me, full-time job, 2 kids, and then what am I to do? And I've always been up on the previous one said like we, not really the energy, I'm always at the high energy, and he said, what am I going to do? Is it in my control or out of control? This is not in my control. Rather than sitting and worrying and feeling bad about what is happening, I need to take charge of the situation, right? And then I said, this very good energy that I've got, what God has blessed me with the grace, let me give it back to others who are in need. So that was the way I could deal with the chaos that I had. And then that ended up me being out there as a multicultural ambassador of Red Carpet Function, been appointed as a Peace Ambassador of International Women Peace Group in Australia, and many more hats to be worn. Again, been saying that didn't mean that I didn't have other peripherals. I had kids, I had my home chores, gardener, fixer, maid. So first shift you see me like this, second shift you come home. Can I meet Prakruthi? It's like, who? That's me. Oh no, not you, Prakruthi. So I would look entirely different. I think we all are that. So for me, balance in life is about challenging the challenge, taking the life as it comes, living in the moment, being switched on, and deal with it up front. That's me.
Excellent. And Juan, what about yourself?
Wow.
Balance.
Balance.
How do you bring balance?
Oh, look, I used to say that I don't have much time to do things before I did an MBA. After I did an MBA and I finished it, I know how I found time now to do a lot of things. So being at work and being at uni as well at the same time is really hard. I know a lot of people here experience that, and they try to strike a balance between those 2 things. But for me, it was more about what's a priority, as you said. It's a priority. What's a priority? I don't longer say I don't have time. I said it's not a priority. So that's the best way for me to balance it. So I have several priorities. So I have I'm a husband. I'm a father. I'm a director for a non-for-profit company. I have a lot of different things that are a priority for me, and that's how I bring them to do a good balance. It's just setting those priorities. I think that's the main thing.
Yeah, so I guess setting the priorities but also sticking to them, right? Making sure that they remain a priority in order to drive that balance for you individually. Great, thank you for those insights. Interesting what balance means to different people. I guess we've heard there bits around career, we've heard bits about family and relationships, we've heard a little bit about social and community involvement, setting our children up, which is that independence, that financial independence for others, and the health and fitness. So it means lots of different things for different people. So now what I'm going to do is flick over to the old, when we think it is International Women's Day. So if we think back to 1965, two women chained themselves to the very, very well known, and I know you've all been there, Regatta Hotel. Who knows why?
So they could drink there.
So they could drink there, pretty close. So in 1965, it was not legal for women to be served alcohol in a public bar. So that's not actually that long ago. I know my mum was alive then, yeah? And it took them 5 years of protesting to basically have that overturned. And it wasn't until March 1970 that the Liquor Act was overturned and that women were actually able to be served alcohol in a public bar environment. So when we think about it, not that long ago. So I guess in terms of that, when we think about gender equality and you know, gender imbalances, what's something that you guys think is a priority now to make this topic not go away, because it's not going away, but certainly to enhance it? What would you think is important to us now in terms of the gender balance discussion? We might kick off with Shiv.
I think doing stuff like this, actually doing things like this,
Yeah, right.
having a conversation about it, making sure that it's front of mind, and for people to be comfortable to talk about it. Changing behaviours individually as well. I think a lot of times people look to their leaders or people who they perceive as leaders to set the tone, to set the rules around it. But I think if you start within yourself, that's the best way to change.
Yeah, right. So having the conversation, starting with yourself, looking at your own behaviours. Thank you. Who'd like to answer next?
I'll go for it.
Go right. Let's
I think it's more about self, or one of the things I want to do is and work a lot is self-awareness.
yeah.
So, and Sylvie was saying this in the last session, and it's just about understanding what you're capable of, understanding what your strengths and what your weaknesses, and then work on that. And that works for everyone. It's for women, for men, for introverts, for extroverts.
Yes.
You really need to find that. You need to really think about yourself. Coming back to my master's degree again, because the first subject that we did, it was just all about self-awareness, and it was all about doing all these 100 different personality tests to understand yourself and what are you good at and what you're not good at. And that really helps you to go out there and talk about it and be open to talk about these things. So self-awareness, I think, is one of the key things, but we need to do to strike that balance.
Yeah. So having the conversation, but also developing that level of awareness within ourselves.
Yeah.
Prakruthi.
Yeah, I would like to talk from the perspective of a mother.
Yeah.
Because I've got two lovely boys. One is 15 and the other one is going to be 10 soon. So what I've seen is education first starts at home. So as a mother, it's my responsibility to teach my children to respect women. So I put them myself first friend. So both my kids are seeing how much mom is working for them, not having that close by, doing all round, and I keep reiterating and re-emphasizing how important it is to see women wears hats. From my Hindu perspective, God has always have 10 hands. And if you see, it's a true reflection of a woman. We do all of this multitasking equally. So they get to see that, and I always sort of related to their friends and classmates, how they would be contributing back home and educating them, because they are a future. The younger generation should understand how important it is to respect another women. So from the mother perspective, I feel that it's important to educate our children. It's just not about the boys, even the women. I was just telling someone else earlier that not necessarily this discrimination or inequality goes by men to women. I like to be open and honest. I witnessed myself pretty many times that a woman causes another woman as well a lot of these, balance get off her hand. So it is important for us to hold hand and respect another woman being a women position. So be it a girl or a boy at home, as a mother, as a sister, as a daughter, it's important to educate everyone at home how important it is to empathize with others' feeling, emotions, and their state and situations. So I feel that this is how we can bring about, obviously, as I said, that talking, getting an awareness, and education.
Great. Thanks, Prakruthi. And Lynn, what steps do you think we need to take?
So, you look at what's going on both here in Australia and around the world at the moment. You've got, presidents of the United States coming out with the most outrageous things, and we won't even go there. But even within Australian society, you see the flow-on consequences of things that are coming out, around Me Too and the whole 9 yards. And I don't know about you, but I think it's fair to say that there is a lot of suppressed anger at the way things have developed, and how do we move beyond that? And so I think the most important thing, and I see this with, we've got 6 kids in our blended family, 5 girls and 1 boy, and 2, sorry, God, I should mention 4 boys, 4 girls and 2 boys. Oh my God. And,
It's okay.
it's hard to keep track. And we were having this conversation with one of the older ones, she's 23, and what occurs to me now is that the problem that we largely have is that women don't really have much of a voice at the big tables that really matter. And Sylvie touched on that when she was talking. But we can wait to be invited, or we can fight to get in, or ask to be in, or just turn up. And so I think going forward, part of that anger is around, why should we also have to fix the problems that we found ourselves in? But the reality is, if we do want to have a voice at the table, we're probably going to have to get involved and participate and have an opinion, and have an opinion firmly held, kind of like Sylvie was also talking. So I think that's what we probably need to do more of, and I need to do more of going forward as well, is just participating, not leaving it up to other people.
Yeah. And that we've heard that now resonate a couple of times through the course of the morning. So really great pickups there, and that education and importance. So now what we're going to do is a little exercise. So what I'm going to do is ask everybody, and that's not just the panelists, everybody here, to close their eyes. Don't worry, I'm not going to rob your mobile phones out of the pocket. I just want you to close your eyes. It's going to be only for about 2 seconds, so...
Is that you touching my knee, George?
Yeah, it is. No. Okay, so when you open your eyes, there is an image on the screen. Think of what you see. You can open your eyes now. What do you see?
A man wearing a hat.
Okay, don't tell me yet. Okay, so there's 2 pictures there. Who saw a man? Raise your hand. Don't be ashamed. It's all good. Who saw a woman? Second. First, I should say first. Yeah? Can everybody see the man and the woman now, or do I need to point it out?
No, where's the man?
Okay. So here's the woman. Here. And here's the man with his moustache.
Oh, okay.
Yeah?
And his ear is just that gap.
Yeah, pretty much. So, one of the biggest challenges identified in this debate is unconscious bias. So what this has just done is demonstrated that over our years and over our conditioning, we will see things from our perspective, whether that be male or be female. So some of us saw the man first, and some of us saw the woman first. And it's not right, and it's not wrong. But what it does is start, I guess, giving you some insights into unconscious bias. So in terms of an unconscious bias, it's when discrimination and incorrect judgments occur due to stereotyping. So when we think about this, how do you think we can address this notion of unconscious bias in our lives today?
One of the things that just never ceases to amaze me is when I get a group of people, and I try to do this deliberately now, is not just get the same group of people, but to invite all sorts of people from, and especially different roles and levels and walks of life. the ideas are just so much better. Yeah, it's phenomenal. And it just blows me away every time.
So that collection of I guess, uncommon minds and making sure you've got a good diversity set regardless.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great. Thank you, Lynn.
I would say it has a lot of implication based on the cultural background, because it's different cultures sees situation, or like as we say, perspectives based on the cultural background and they brought up. So yes, I like that idea. That's a fantastic thing about getting different group of people. And again, back to what you stated is about standing up for yourself, never doubting of your abilities and capabilities. Talk out, however silly it seems, but then you have a voice, you have to tell it out what you feel. If somebody accepts it or not accepts it, again, it is their perception and their cultural thing. You, with your learning, if you feel you're saying it out right, you be out there. The more we voice out, the more we get recognized. So there's no right and wrong, as you rightly said, so you just have to voice it out. Like we've been invited here, 2 men and 2 women. That shows that there is a recognition, there is an ability for you to stand up and say, yes, I can come talk in front of these people. There could be any random question coming out. I'm capable. Whether I prove myself right is each of the perception. So I think such activity is important as an organization, and I really commend AW to giving this wonderful opportunity and this forum to be discussing. Yeah, that's okay.
That's great. Gentlemen.
Oh, look, unconscious bias is one of those you can test yourself to know which way you go, which way is your bias. And
Yes.
one of the main tests that I did again is I have a moderate unconscious bias against black people and against women in career, a slight one, women in career. And I wouldn't say like I have no idea. I wouldn't say that was my thought. And when you build that self-awareness, then you can action on it. You can take action on it.
Yeah.
So Google it, say unconscious bias, and it's a Harvard test. You can test yourself with different gender, race, a lot of things. And what can we do to improve that? Google made a whole workshop and it's free, so learning and development can probably do that. HR. It's a whole workshop that you can do around unconscious bias, which is pretty good.
They made it whole. Is that what it's called?
It's called Rework with Google.
Rework, yeah.
Rework with Google.
Actually, this image was stolen from the Allianz Unconscious Bias training. Yeah? Actually, not stolen. We're part of Allianz. Free license. And Shiv, your views on unconscious bias?
Yeah, I think it's, again, just having awareness within yourself,
Yeah.
right? So, male or female, we all have it. Like
Yes.
for me, for example, I'm from 3 different places. I was born in Fiji, raised in a bad part of town in New Zealand, and came to Brisbane, which is like the safest.
Hang on, there's no bad parts in New Zealand, right?
And like I first came in, I was like, man, this city's boring. The people are boring.
Yeah, right.
But it's I think having, but actually making an effort to understand that it's there and calling yourself out on it when you see yourself doing it.
Yeah, right.
And calling other people out on it if you're seeing it happen around you and just making other people feel comfortable. But yeah, having awareness.
Perfect. Great. So we're hearing a lot of the same themes again around awareness, education and understanding. I guess that sort of ends our formal panel questions. What I'd like to do now is throw to the audience. Does anyone have a question for our amazing panellists? Yeah.
Can I ask you, what was your experience in Saudi Arabia? Dubai, probably less so, but with the equality thing?
Prakruthi, she's lived in Saudi.
Yeah, I love that question, because again, I'd like to tell in compass the whole sort of question that's come out so far, perception. Your perception towards that region could be reading the articles all around, and my perception will be being there, witnessing the whole thing. I loved my time. That's the best part of the years, because I did take break of my so-called busy life then and trying to work out how I'm going to reconnect within myself. So because there wasn't there out a lot going out and exposing yourself and doing much, there was a lot of peace time Being said that, being a Roman in Rome is what gets you up there. So they have certain aspect that we need to respect for that region. Like I had to wear abaya when I was there, and I did enjoy, because that's the way they show respect to the women. And I can't go there and badge, this is not what I like. So it's about being there, one among them, adopting, and that's what's striking the balance and seeing what is important to me at this point in time. And this was something, the choice we made, right? So we've gone there and accepting, and if you ask me, yes, I absolutely love being there. There was so much of learning, even from the religion perspective, a lot of things where I witnessed, like Ramadan, what's the meaning behind it, and there was a lot of learning to me out there. And also the way, as I said, it's all about culture, the way they see women and they respect them is equally important to be considered. That's how it's given me that wisdom, like, okay, how we need to respect people from different background and what they see, and we have to empathize and understand to accommodate them at their comfort level.
Do you believe it was the same for all women though, of any level? Because my sister lives in the UAE and works over there for quite a few years now. And as an expat or as a teacher brought in and they value education, she is treated differently than a lot of the women who are in service, who are brought in from a lot of the other countries that don't have as much financially. So I was just wondering, did you find your experience, did you find that was similar to most women of whatever level they're at?
Not really at all, because I worked, the earlier example I gave was Saudi Arabia when I wasn't, but when I was in Dubai, I worked for Emirates Airlines for 6 years. I had a wonderful career progression there. It is all about who you get as a leader. That's why they're called leader. It's just not about the country, your organization, it's about the person who is going to be mentoring you and uplifting you and giving you that opportunity, and how we can prove our capabilities without hope, wearing a mask to that. But answering your question, no, I didn't have any such experiences, and we had a big range of women. There was a great percentage of women working in the organization.
Thank you, Prakruthi. Any other questions, Naveen?
Yeah, I have a question. What do you deal with lots of people on daily basis, and some of them may be unconsciously biased, but they are not aware. What to do? How you feel there is a biasment there towards something, but how you can approach them or tell them.
What advice they would give when they notice unconscious bias themselves, but yet the individual's not aware?
Yes.
I always notice that at the airport when you're queuing up to get on the plane, and you've got your frequent flyer queue, right? And all the men just assume that because this is my unconscious bias. So you kind of just get pushed to the back, or they just push in front of you, and it's like, hello,
I'm here.
We're all going to get there at the same time. What's going on? They're assuming that she can't be a frequent flyer, and then I'm projecting onto them that that's what they're thinking. So I don't know. I think where I feel it gets in the road of getting something done or something achieved, I would probably have a quiet word. Yeah, I just can't think of a recent example of when I've experienced that, so that's positive.
Yeah. So, but if you did, you would certainly have a quiet conversation.
Yeah, I would have said
Any
that.
other?
Yeah.
Stu?
Yeah, I think speaking out.
Speak out?
Yeah.
Yeah. One, anything to add?
It can be seen as difficult though when you do that.
That's all right.
I think it depends on the way in which you approach it. So the quiet word there is probably the notion, rather than publicly humiliating somebody, but having the quiet word is probably the intent there.
I'll send the email with the link.
The link.
Yes.
So our point now is, check this one out. Have you done this recently? Maybe we should make it part of induction awareness, unconscious bias awareness.
I went home for Christmas and had Christmas with my brother, who's just a shocker. And it just got so tedious and boring after a while. And my partner said to him, he said, would you just stop that? It's not appropriate and it's not funny. And he got quite a long lecture after that too. It wasn't just like one sentence. And it was in front of a whole bunch of my brother's friends, so it was a little bit awkward. I don't think we'll be invited back. It was important to say, so I wouldn't have done it that way though myself.
Yeah, great. All right, well that sort of draws us to a close on this amazing International Women's Day. So we'll leave you with some stats in terms of gender equality, and certainly if you've got any questions, feel free to reach out and ask, or certainly come and have a chat to the panellists. But thank you very much for attending. And to our amazing panellists, thank you very much for allowing us to hear your views on this important day.